Well, welcome back to Parliament and right next to the red carpet. It's all happening thick and fast right now, and boy, is it a feast, and the fashion is something to behold. And with me right now, spoke to him earlier this morning on Morning Live, and that's Professor Nhlanhla Kubisa from the National Freedom Party. And he, as he said, brought his daughter along. So this is the picture that they present to us here this afternoon. Professor Kubisa, firstly, who chose this ensemble?
Well, I think we chose it separately and individually. You know, when she showed me her dress, I really saw it was stunning, really. Yeah. No. I never thought it would be at this level. No, I just chose my suit. Yeah. I'm a dresser.
And your daughter, your name is?
Ntando.
Yeah. Ntando, and who is this dress by?
I didn't really get a particular designer. I just bought the dress from a shop. I don't know if I should name it, but yeah.
Well, you look fantastic all the same, and of course we spoke to your father earlier this morning, Professor Kubisa, so we know what your expectations are, so I'll let you move right along. And it's a conveyor belt right now here on the red carpet. Professor Kubisa and his daughter, thanks so much for stopping by, and right next to them, of course, is the Reverend Kenneth Mishwe of the ACDP and his beautiful wife, and again, splendid colors this afternoon, and I take it this was your inspiration, Mrs. Mishwe.
Oh, yes, always. And I'm so glad that when it comes to this, he always submits, things change.
She's the boss. I follow her.
You know what they say, happy wife, happy life.
Definitely. You can see the smiles. I can't frown. I always smile because I have a happy wife. And because of her happiness, that makes my heart to overflow with joy.
Well, great to see you. You look fantastic this afternoon. Love the splash of color. And of course, we'll speak to you right after the State of the Nation address. All right. And we also have coming from my left and coming from my right. But let me start on my left. The chief whip from this morning. Shall I fix that tie for you? Thank you so much. And Mr. Jackson of Tembu, chief whip of the ANC, of course, and his beautiful wife. What did he lie to get you?
Pardon?
What did he say to get a beautiful woman like you? Did he lie to you?
No, he didn't.
You look absolutely ravishing this afternoon. Who's this by?
Pardon?
Who is the designer?
Oh, I bought it from Vikes and Nail Sprays.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the color scheme, was that also your idea? Did he have to fit in with what you're wearing this afternoon?
No, I came up with the idea.
Well, you look great, both of you, and go on, enjoy, and we'll catch up afterwards because you got your views earlier as well. And absolute pleasure, Ayanda Dlodlo. Well, let's step back and take in this vision. Okay. Evidently some effort went into this. No name brand.
Don't ask me about brands. No name brand.
So where did this come from?
From somewhere.
But where? I mean, someone's sitting at home and thinking, wow, I'd love to have that.
Brought it back with him.
So this is the husband?
Yes.
And what do you think of your wife?
She's stunning as usual.
And what do you think of your husband?
He's handsome.
He certainly is dashing.
Hummy, yummy.
So who chose the suit?
I bought this for him.
Yes.
No, I bought this for him.
Well, thank you so much and hope you enjoy it. But just a quick one, any expectations for tonight?
Well, I hope that the president will speak to issues relating to the professionalization of the public service, dealing with issues amongst others of public servants doing business with the state, but also the macro configuration of the state, which is not only about cabinet and the size of cabinet, but ensuring efficiencies in the system.
Well, thanks so much for stopping to speak to us, and go in all your splendor there, Minister Ayanda Dlodlo, Minister of Public Service and Administration, and her husband. And joining me now, one of the newest kids on the political block, the president of Good, that's Patricia De Lille here with us. So, and who dressed you today?
It's an Ethiopian dress. It's a Lungile Kunene. I'm inspired by the rise of women in Ethiopia, and it's like in solidarity with them. But what I expect from the State of the Nation address is the president must announce some good things to inspire the nation, to give us hope again. And then he must also tell us what he's going to do with the economy, how government is going to invest more in infrastructure, water, electricity. So I know it's the end of the term, but it's not the end of the term for government.
Well, certainly, and your prospects for your party, hopefully for the 6th Parliament?
Well, certainly, I'm very hopeful, Sakina. The response is being very warm because we're mobilizing all good people on the basis that if good people do nothing, then corruption and all of the bad things triumph in our country. And the response is good, especially from young people. It's an idea that we put forward to be tested in a multi-party democracy, and I've always put my faith in the voters of South Africa.
Well, thanks so much for speaking to us. Catch up with you afterwards. And that, of course, Patricia De Lille of Good. And that's one of the new parties. And we will catch up with all of these people again right after the State of the Nation address. But here he is, Minister Nathi Mthethwa. Wow. We need to step back once again so we can take this in all its splendor. Minister, good afternoon.
Sakina, how are you? I didn't hear you. How are you? It's the first time I see you this year.
Well, I'm just speechless at how gorgeous the two of you look.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So let's find out from the wife first in terms of this particular dress. It is absolutely stunning. The color absolutely popping. So who made this?
It's Oscar.
Oscar, where from?
Oscar Tolerance.
You know, we have Oscars in South Africa. We need to be clear on this one here. But Minister, anything that you're looking forward to here this evening?
Well, it's mainly the way forward. How do we grow South Africa? That's the main. And I'm certain the President is going to focus, as he has been, on the economic situation and how do we make that better. For the betterment of all in the country.
Well, Minister, you're looking absolutely dapper this evening, so go on, enjoy. Minister of Arts and Culture, Minister Nathi Mthethwa there. Oh, and I'm stuttering because he's staring me down. And that's the Minister of Police stepping into picture here. Minister Tkele? Good afternoon. Well, you, of all the men I've seen thus far, I think you're right up there on the best dressed list. So, who was responsible for this look?
Well, I came last night, but the night before I spent a lot of time. Many suits were put on the bed. Somebody was responsible. I think I had 3 these coats, and she chose this final one. As I left, she's not here. She's at home in Pretoria. And she just checked for the last time. I had to send a photo, and she agreed.
Well, I was going to say, I'm missing something. You know, you and your beautiful wife, you've become quite iconic on this red carpet.
Indeed, I miss her so much. I told her as I left, I said, don't worry, she'll make up to me in whatever way.
Before this goes anywhere we don't want it to go, Minister, I'm going to let you go, but absolutely dapper. You really do look good this afternoon. Let me just take that off you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Before you keep going, could you please tell us what are your expectations of this evening? What would you like the President to address?
And welcome back to the red carpet, and with me here from the Democratic Alliance Member of Parliament Phumzile Van Dam and her partner. So she's going to tell us who it is.
This is my little sister. I know it's hard to believe because she is way taller than me, but she is my little sister. Her name is Deniso. We are today representing Cape Town designers. We're both dressed by Click. My accessories are from Kirsten Goss and my hat Crystal Birch. So we're really just here to showcase the best of Cape Town. We believe Cape Town's the design capital of South Africa. So we wanted to, pay homage to our Cape Town designers.
And back to the serious business now. I saw the statement that was released by the Democratic Alliance talking about how President Ramaphosa needs to address the Busasa issue before he delivers the State of the Nation address. Please explain the rationale there first.
Well, I think for me particularly, and from the Democratic Alliance, we've seen that politicians do not get charged or arrested for corruption. So we want to hear the President walk the talk. So we want to hear about Supra Ramahela being arrested for corruption. We want to hear about the politicians themselves that are involved in corruption. Because in order to deal with corruption, you need to start at the top. So we want to hear that. So that's why our message is, as the Democratic Alliance going into the election, is that any politician found guilty of corruption should face a 15-year sentence. We want to make sure that we establish a unit dedicated specifically to identifying, prosecuting corruption, and also making sure politicians undergo regular lifestyle audits.
So let me understand this. The EFF said they're going to turn this into a question and answer session if this matter is not addressed according to their satisfaction before SONA. So what is the DA's plan of action tonight?
Well, I mean, as parliamentary procedure works, the President delivers his speech and then we're given our turn to respond in the debate. So that is generally what parliamentary procedure is, and we're given time as political parties to get our message across. We would not want to not have that opportunity to properly not only talk to the President, but talk to the people of South Africa about what we think the President is saying, but also what we would do different as a political party. So we most certainly want to make use of that opportunity to respond substantively to what is presented in the State of the Nation address.
And we'll unpack that later on, no doubt, try and catch up with you after the State of the Nation address to find out if it was substantive enough and to your liking. You look gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you very much, Sakina.
And that was an interview that I did earlier with the DA's Phumzile Van Dam, but live back here on the red carpet. And with me now is Minister Bathabile Dlamini and her gorgeous daughter, and just taking in these colors, beautifully coordinated. Minister, you look a picture. Who made this?
It was made by two young women. They have their home sewing place, or they are seamstresses, and you just buy the material, or they buy the material for you. And
who are they, Minister?
They at some stage they were assisted by government when they were still growing. But now I think they are self-sufficient. But also I got them from other ministers, because there are ministers that are also they depend on them.
And as per your portfolio tonight, what are you expecting from the President? What are you hoping to hear?
My expectation is that when it comes to violence against women and children, we have to come up with proper, clearly defined preventative programs. And secondly, that they must be funded, and they must be implementable, and they must be measurable. If we have that on issues of violence against women, we would have done well. When it comes to the issues of women and economic empowerment, that is very important. We need to start now giving women an opportunity in all spheres of life, in all businesses or the economy sector, an opportunity. And they must be given a proper time for empowerment and development, but also people that work in the institutions that fund women must also be trained, and they must not come with a societal attitude that undermines women, that is patriarchal, and bring it at work, and end up having women giving sex for tenders, sex for work. We just need to change the system and focus on institutionalized patriarchy. And all South African men, more particularly leaders, must commit to the fight against violence against women.
Minister, thank you so much, and you look absolutely beautiful, and looking forward to see you again, perhaps for reaction after the State of the Nation address. And that is the Minister Batabile Dlamini and her beautiful daughter, and stepping into picture now, and doesn't he look dashing? And the Prince himself, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, here with me.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Wow, you look fantastic.
Really?
Yes, you do.
For an old man to get that flatter from a beautiful young lady, I know.
But I'm not flattering you.
You have made my day.
It's not flattery. You look absolutely debonair. And again, maybe we can just step back for a little so people can absolutely see this. I mean, you look absolutely stunning. The color, is that significant in any way?
Pardon?
The color of your bow tie, is that significant in any way, or is it just being fashionable today?
No, actually I picked it up this morning on my way to office.
Well, it works. But, you know, I know that there was a celebration in your honor sometime last year, and you will not be contesting the leadership of the Inkatha Freedom Party. So, and at the end of an era, as it were. And looking at this fifth parliament coming to an era, what are your reflections?
Well, actually, you know, as someone that God has blessed, you know, with so many years, and knowing that, you know, the trumpet can sound any time for me to go, I've never been more depressed than I am now when I look at the crisis in which our country is today. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to have a chat with our president. And in fact, I hope that God may help him to produce, you know, a rabbit out of his head today, because I really don't know, without a magic wand, in spite of all the good things he said, I don't know how he can manage to get us out of this problem.
So you think it's almost mission impossible, but you do seem to have a little bit of a hope somewhere there. So what can he realistically do to turn the tide and perhaps just put us back in the right direction?
I'm so pleased that you mentioned this word hope, because I've always said in the darkest day of apartheid, we used to say freedom in our lifetime, but when we went to bed, we wondered, in fact, it would happen. But because we didn't abandon hope. So I always say that our people must never abandon hope, remembering the long and difficult journey we've traveled, that we're sustained by that hope. So even now, as dire as things may be in our country, I'm hoping that, you know, with God's help, we can still get out of it.
Well, Prince, thank you so much. You have to see it up close. I mean, even the spectacles match the bow tie. And the IFP grouping out in full force here. We have Mr. Hlengwa here, Mr. Naran Singh, Liesel van der Merwe. They all here. And maybe just very quickly, so just so we can take a look for the camera, Mr. Hlengwa, there, very quickly, right next to your leader. And I missed that, Prince.
I can't compete with this jacket.
Who is that jacket by?
It's by a friend of mine, Kafahari Designers in Johannesburg, and he's an up-and-coming youth designer and stuff. So he just said, today, let me just wear it, and I hope it works out for him. And I want to say thank you to him and big up to all the youth designers in South Africa.
All right. And I must tell you, everybody looking absolutely dashing here. Liesel, you look beautiful. And we're going to let them pass. We're going to go to Stephen Grootes, and then Minister Willem Kiese is in front of me. We'll see if we can hold him, but it's over to Stephen first.
Sakina, thank you very much indeed. All right in front of the National Assembly. Now, if you see the red here is not a political comment. It is just the red carpet that's being rolled out for President Cyril Ramaphosa and the presiding officers. They'll be here later. The band has been playing all afternoon. I'm fairly certain I heard a very interesting version of Bright Blues Weeping a couple of hours ago. We're expecting them to keep tuning up and to keep going through the day. So a little later, we'll have the President here, the bust, of course, of former President Nelson Mandela right in the front here in pride of place, and then in a little while, just before 7 o'clock, proceedings will start. I'm going to invite now the Minister of Home Affairs here, Bonga Cwele, to join me. Minister, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time.
Good afternoon, Stephen, and viewers of the SABC.
It's the obvious question, what are you expecting from the speech? And if you can speak above the announcements, I'll be very impressed.
No, of course, we will expect the President to inspire the nation as usual. in this spirit of renewal and this spirit of Tumamina, and where as South African will be working together to grow the economy, because it's only when our economy is growing we can be able to solve most of our problems as a country. We'll also be expecting him to be touching on issues which pertain to the safety of South Africans, our citizens, the violence and protection of our borders. Those are the things we expect the head of states, and that's why we're inviting all South African West citizens, rich and poor, to listen to His Excellency President Ramaphosa as it outlines the plans. It is a very important year too, because it's a year of elections where the tempers of political parties are up, but we're also calling for calm, and where I'm sure it'll be also encouraging the South Africans to continue to go and register and vote until that date. We will announce later that date will be actually proclaimed in the Gazette, that we continue to encourage South Africans to go and register to vote so that they can exercise their right, which they fought for so much, the right to decide who should lead the country.
Are you expecting an election day tonight?
No. That's a prerogative of the president when he decides to proclaim that date. But what we are saying, until that date is gazetted, we're encouraging South Africans to go to the voting station at our municipal offices to register to vote so that they can actually exercise their right to vote.
All right, I mean, obviously everyone's talking about Eskom and the economy, but to you, sir, of course, we want to know if the word visas is going to be in the speech tonight, and if we're going to see any movement there. Do you think that's going to happen?
Tourism is a very important component of our economy. It's one of the growth areas, actually, in South Africa. Our role as a Home Affairs is to facilitate the movement of these tourists to South Africa without putting a lot of obstacles. And that's why last year, for instance, November, we relaxed some of the visa requirements, like this unabridged certificate when they are traveling with their children. That's why we continue to engage on a bilateral basis with key countries of the world where we expect more tourists to come to South Africa. And that's why, for instance, there have been discussions with China which have been concluded, discussions with India which have been concluded. Those are the things really we think that the president will continue to emphasize the importance of growing the economy, the importance of growing the tourism, and what measures we as the South African government are putting in place to attract more investment, to attract more tourists in our country, while we're keeping the bad guys out, while we're making sure that our borders are actually stronger and more secure. Those are the things we'll be expecting from His Excellency.
It does seem that many South Africans are looking for direction. I mean, all of the data that we've seen over the last little while about how South Africans are feeling sort of points to that. So you want direction in the economy, and you want direction in other issues as well, social cohesion. Are you looking for that direction tonight?
Social cohesion is very important to us as South Africa, taking the history where we come from. Some of the social ills which are coming into place, whether you call it racism, whether you call it racism and violence against women and children, those are the social ills we can defeat if we work together as South Africans. And His Excellency President, I hope he will be putting more emphasis on issues of social cohesion and making sure that we have got a direction. I think he has given us the direction. I think his honesty in saying we are changing the way we've been doing things is inspiring quite a lot of citizens. I think his commitment to unearth the wrong things, like the commissions which are going on now, are inspiring citizens that things are changing. Things are going to be better because we learn from the bad mistakes and then continue to do the right things. But bearing in mind, over the last couple of years, we've done quite a lot of good things. Sometimes people forget that very few people had access to water. Now, majority of citizens are having access to clean water. As a medical doctor, I know it, that many people were having all these waterborne diseases. Those things are things of the past now. So,
Minister, I'm so sorry, I do have to end it there. Thank you. There will be a lot. I hope to see you again afterwards. Minister Siyabonga Cwele is the Minister of Home Affairs. As the band continues, and Sakina Kamwendo is standing by with some very interesting guests.
Well, and welcome back. And as you can see, the minister's coming through now. I have the Minister of Science and Technology in front of me in a beautiful, beautiful ensemble. And Minister, you look fantastic.
Thank you very much, Sakina. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, science and technology had nothing to do with all the bling that I see here on you.
Possibly we're just trying to bling up the future, to make it more brighter. And that's what we can be able to say. It's about technology, so we're trying to be innovative a bit in what we dress, more African print, but also modernizing it.
In 30 seconds, what do you want to hear tonight from the President for your portfolio?
We're looking forward to hearing about how we can be able to contribute towards economic development in terms of science and technology, making sure that we are at the center, because the future is about technology. If we can be able to utilize innovation to solve our problems and to solve issues of service delivery, that for me, I think that's what I'm looking forward to, because the future is in the fourth industrial revolution. The future is about innovation. The future is about technology. And for more young people who will benefit out of what we will be able to do.
Thanks so much for stopping to speak to us. And moving straight along, we're rolling it over here. Minister Nzimande and, of course, his wife. Good afternoon. And let's take this in. The color for the day. Is it red? Is it blue?
Well, what excites me most is that the color of the carpet, Sakina, still remains red. That's what is the most important thing for me.
So, Minister, of course, you know, it is a very important night. The marching orders will be given tonight by the President. For your portfolio, what would you like to hear?
Well, we expect the President to address quite a lot of issues regarding the economy and especially infrastructure, which is more important for my portfolio because, in essence, transport is an infrastructure portfolio. So I'm expecting the President's commitments to more investment into infrastructure, because that is very important if we are to lay a firm basis to creating jobs and to growing and developing our economy at the same time.
Absolutely, Minister. And of course, Mrs. Nzimande, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thank you. And stepping in now in a gorgeous, what green is this? Is this an emerald? It's not an emerald green. What green is this?
I'm honestly not sure. I thought it was olive, but when I looked at my avocado, I was like, no, this is not olive, but it's something more glamorous than green.
And you see, this is where, Chief Holomisa, you take the back seat because she's in charge of the color scheme here today, evidently.
Well, it's always the case. Even on any other day, she has to tell me what to wear and what not to wear. Of course, sometimes I balk when I believe that she's taking it overboard, but I'm always comfortable with her choices.
Nkosi Holomisa, with regard to Controlesa and, you know, the work that you do, what do you like to hear tonight from the President?
Well, of course, when the President took over the leadership of the ANC, he went around the country saluting the traditional leaders of the land, committing himself and his government and the ANC to do what is necessary for traditional leaders to be able to play their rightful role in the life of the people of South Africa. More importantly, the question of agrarian reform and the production of food for security and things like that is very paramount, and traditional leaders are central in ensuring that the land that we have is used productively with the assistance of the state, so that we are able to contribute to the alleviation of unemployment and poverty.
Well, you two look absolutely gorgeous together. Go on, enjoy, and hopefully we'll catch up with you later. And there you have it. We are going to cross back right now. I think we're going to studio. And Peter and Palisa, I don't even know what time it is right now because it's just been such a hive of activity. But it is back to you in studio.